Um, so, I'm dinner with Maggie. I am trying not to hit the mic. Right off the bat, I am a member of the Stockbridge-Munsee Band of Mohican Indians. I was born and raised on the reservation. And what I plan on showing today is the story map. This is how I actually want to reach my own people and educate them on history and, well, history and, other topics that a lot of people who are coming home now that there are jobs, they just don't know. So without further ado, I want to point out one more thing. My grandmother wrote a book called Stockbridge-Munsee, or not Stockbridge-Munsee, Christian Religion Among the Stockbridge-Munsee Band of Mohican Indians. And in order to do this, what I did was convert her book, or excerpt from her book, into the story map, so the next generation can read it. I had to highlight this because our tribal elders are great. I'm sure all of you have character. We have extra character. This is my cousin Bud. He was picking up his vegetables for the day. But, by recording it and putting it into accessible media types, we have the opportunity to preserve it and bridge that knowledge gap that happens when people pass on. This is actually a picture of my grandpa, and God knows what year it is. You guys might recognize the vintage of the car. No idea. But anyway, the reservation that I remember, we had, every time people got together, they would talk about their relatives, and then you would literally learn your entire family line over and over again, and you learn everyone else's family line too, because that's how we introduced ourselves. You literally go through your genealogy, and it's something that's vanishing. We have two economies, well, things that we can use for economy. Trees. At the beginning, you saw this photo of, well, it was a black and white photo. I'm not sure if you could tell, but it was the cutover reservation. And it's grown back now. We have a great forestry department, a great ecology department, because most of it is actually wetlands, which you can't see here. But it's really the only economy we have. They talked about doing carbon tax credits, as another way to have money, but we all decided that that's just offsetting someone else's bad choices. So we did not go for that. The only other economy was when we got casinos. And we have one little one, and what a lot of people don't realize is that, yes, you have a couple that are really successful in major urban centers, but then you have folks who are, say, up along here, Red Cliff, Bad River. We have 11 tribes in Wisconsin, and they are not making bank. And another thing that a lot of people don't know about is there's an Indian Gaming Revenue Act, I believe, Regulation Act. And that regulates what we use it for. So a lot of people are thinking Las Vegas, and it's actually not Las Vegas. It's healthcare, schools. It is designated to go to something. And it pays, I think, half of our clinic, which, it's supposed to be funded clinic by the government, right? We all know that does not happen. So this covers that, and a lot of education. I was very, very grateful to be able to go to college debt-free. I also didn't have a car and was an absolute cheapskate, but it worked, and I'm very grateful for that. The casino brought jobs back to the reservation, and being a Christian tribe, not everybody was in favor of it, but jobs are really important. That allowed people to stay in the community. That allowed us to fund little initiatives and like trips to the homeland. And it's led to further problems in the future. So in 1930s, there was the Indian Reorganization Act. Under Roosevelt, it's known as the Indian New Deal. We did a constitution. Before this, we had a business committee. This business committee took our tribe, did a constitution committee, and suddenly we're recognized, federally recognized Native American tribe again. Not everybody made that cut. There is, depending on how you define it, if it's legally or if it's just the fact that they exist. The Brotherton in the 1840s and 50s, when all of the Indian Citizen Party was going on, they became citizens, like the whole tribe, and they are no longer federally recognized. They have a great community. They keep their history, but they don't have the same recognized status as we do. And that, of course, has led to issues as well. But this is it will be the new Ella Besar Center. And one of the issues that is occurring because we have an aging population is we have assisted living, but we all know elders don't stay in that comfortable little transitional period. And this will be a skilled health nursing so that we can keep them in our community longer. You know, no one wants to have to move. No one wants to be away from family. And that is something that will allow us to do that. I chose this picture because here you can also see our clinic, which is really, really nice. I grew up with the old clinic, and before the old clinic, they actually had doctors fly up in little airplanes and land in a field we called Rash's Field. And they crashed once, but the good news is everyone survived. And you know, that's how we got doctors. And like, that was this last century. I'm not saying they're old, but wow, the amount of history in just last century is incredible. All right, here is our, probably the only full subdivision we have. Because of the large amount of wetlands, we have a bit of a housing issue, and the ability to build is further restricted because we're trying to preserve the interior. We want to preserve the wetlands because wetlands do serve a purpose. You know, they're a habitat corridor, they're flood protection. You know, they have a reason to be there. And what happens is people move back from the city where they want to retire or something, and they love to back in the woods. And that is not a good idea because, one, it takes EMS a little longer to get to you, the cost of electricity, and it fragments the habitat. So we have a rule where you can't build further than 300 feet from the road, and that further limits the reservation and housing on the reservation, but it's really, really important in preserving the forest, which is the only other economy we have. If the casino ever goes under, we're going to be hurting, but you know, people can commute. And then we have our only set of public apartments, which you can't see here, but every time I've had to move home to the reservation, these have been a godsend. They're the only affordable apartments in the area, and they're actually very well taken care of. The subdivision, you know, just allows people to be closer and not fragment the habitat nearly as much. I keep wanting to scroll. Anyway, there is a really small subdivision off to the right that is made up of 2 houses because, well, there's kind of a cliff. And, and then across the way, there's another one, and we have a 2-year rule as far as land management so that, you know, it's based on need, so that when people come home, there's going to be a space for them. You know, it might not be in the woods, but it will be a place to build a house. And we're going to jump to another slide to show you what else can be done on story maps. Same, I just duplicated the story. And with all the people who are now moving home and aren't as familiar with the reservation we grew up with, they'll be able to, oh, actually, this is that subdivision, a Towuk. And you can click, it'll tell you where you are, and that's something that's still under development. Let's see, clinic, new elderly. This carrot came out of our garden. I know, right? Oh, and seed repatriation. That's actually pretty darn cool too. We have a grant garden because the tribe wanted to check out food sovereignty, and they got a farmer on board, and she has taken it from, oh, well, here's actually the field. All right, it started as this cute little corner right here and expanded out here. Now we have 2 high tunnels. They're going to actually get a building with indoor plumbing, which they are so thrilled about, I can't even tell you, and an orchard. And this is in like 5 years. She did an amazing job. This is actually, these are sort of tangents, but this is an example of the roles that they take. So when we reconstituted in 1934, they took a list of everybody. You know, everyone is like, okay, well, I'm half, I'm a quarter, you know, because blood quantum. They want to know your percentage like a dog. What can I say? Life, there's our Constitution, and there are the people that I love so much. The first one's, the second one is actually passed on, but she gave it a good run. Here's another example of ways you could do it, except what we do is we're going to zoom in, and I'll show you actually the reservation. The doctors that flew in, this is where they flew in. We had a tornado last summer in straight line winds. It is now clear cut. Actually, this entire area is also clear cut. There were 2 streaks. You could literally, the National Weather Service came out, and I was going to try and show my map. Did not work out well, so I'm like, let's go down the road, and I put my drone in the air, and you could literally see 2 streaks. It was unbelievable, and that was my adventure with the National Weather Service. I had no idea that they could do so much damage. This entire area is wetlands, by the way. Let's see. We have wilderness areas we protect. This is pretty much the heart of that. And I think another area that is, we don't even allow logging in there. I used to, in land management, go around with my GPS unit, follow the logging trails. The logging trail ran out. Apparently it was only really in winter. And then I was hopping from little dirt plots to another dirt plot. Lost my debit card somewhere in the swamp. And I didn't cancel it because I was pretty sure no one was ever going to find it. It was actually a lot of fun. There's going to be an archaeologist in the future that thinks here. Yeah, they'll be like, I'll bet this was an ancient gas station. Yeah, this is the heart of the reservation. We got a baseball diamond, family center, public safety, which when the tornado happened, everybody ended up meeting there, which I really, really appreciated. It's nice to know that everybody knows where to go. And let's see, the 1960s is when this was put in. And I believe that everybody had to like sort of work on their own house.